Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. April 6th, 2018.
The Kuhner Report is powered by Kelly Financial Services. Cleaning up your financial bull. Get the peace of mind that you deserve at Kelly Financial Services.
A Marxist Muchel now mocks President Trump right here in Boston. Okay, my friends, jam-packed show for you today. You don't want to miss a second of it. Trust me when I tell you this. But first, clearly, the breaking news really of the last hour. It has just broken. Marxist Michelle Obama, the former First Lady, is here in Boston at the Simmons Leadership Conference. And this has been first reported by WBZ. The former First Lady took a direct shot at President Trump, in fact, openly mocked him to the cheers of all the liberals and moonbats in the audience. When asked about the leadership and presidential leadership, she said that her husband, the dear leader, President Obama, was like having, quote unquote, the good parent at home, the responsible parent, the one who told you to eat your carrots and go to bed on time. She says, she continues, and now we have the other parent, i.e. the bad parent. According to her, quote, we thought it'd feel fun. Maybe it feels fun for now because we can eat candy all day and stay up late and not follow the rules. She then was asked in a wide-ranging discussion about Hillary Rotten Clinton. And according to Marxist Michelle, her words, not mine, Hillary was the best qualified candidate. Quote, she wasn't perfect, but she was way more perfect than many of the alternatives. In fact, you have that cut, Brittany? All right. In fact, listen to this. She even says that Hillary Clinton was the most qualified candidate in history. Roll it, Brittany.
Weren't comfortable voting for a woman, sadly. And we, especially in this room, we have to own that reality.
Yes, we do.
To me, that's the deeper question for us today as women. What happened? Mm-hmm. What's going on inside of us where we're still afraid to embrace a different vision of leadership? Because to me, that's what that says. Right. It says that the best qualified candidate in this last race was a woman. And she wasn't perfect, but she was way more perfect than many of the alternatives.
This is unbelievable. I mean, no, really, honestly, it just doesn't end. It really doesn't end. This assault on President Trump, it's absolutely relentless. And so a couple of points now need to be made, and I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868 is the number. Number one, she was a crook and a gangster. So if the most corrupt politician in American history was, in your view, the most qualified person to seek the presidency, then, lady, you've got a screw loose. Like, in all honesty. I mean, are you on crack? No, honestly, are you on crack? You know, the garbage that you're peddling, even by liberal standards, even by Democratic standards. She was the worst candidate maybe ever in American political history. That's why she lost. Point number one, okay? Point number two. If she's such a freaking well-qualified candidate, why did your husband run against her in 2008? If somehow this was a blow against the sisterhood, if this was somehow not voting for her, the mother of all betrayals of women and women's rights and feminism and, whatever, a blow against sexism and misogyny, why did your husband run against her and take the nomination away from her in 2008? Her best shot at winning the presidency wasn't in 2016. It was in 2008. with the great financial recession, McCain being very weak, the Republicans on the ropes. That was her coronation. That was supposed to be her path to the presidency. And you know who stole it from her? You. In particular, your husband. Now, to the heart of the matter. Look at the mindset of the radical liberal left. Okay? This, by the way, coming from a woman who during the 2008 campaign said that she was never proud of her country until her husband ran for the presidency. This woman, who was never proud of her country until for 8 years, she was able to stay and vacation and party every month at 5-star resorts, 5-star hotels, you name it, Cancun, Mexico, the French Riviera, Hawaii, shopping in Beverly Hills, flying around on a private jumbo jet on our tab. That's all this woman did for 8 freaking years. Was party, vacation, shop. Party, vacation, shop on our dime. So I guess she's only proud of her country when a Muchel can mooch off the fat of the land. Now, as for the good parent, think of the liberal mindset here. We're a nation of adults. We're a nation of adults. This is the kind of big government paternalism whereby they look upon the state and the government as your daddy or your mommy. As if for all little children who need a big brother, a father or a mother or a nanny state to control and regulate every aspect of our lives. So, the good parent, i.e. Barack Hussein Obama, you know, the one who told us to eat our carrots and go to bed on time. You mean the same one who used the IRS against his political opponents and the deplorables? Is that the good parent? You mean the one that illegally ran guns into Mexico? You mean that one, Fast and Furious? And then the guns came back into the United States, leading to the deaths of Border Patrol agents and countless people in our cities? You mean that good parent? You mean the one who created a surveillance state? Who spied on American citizens, spied on American politicians, spied on American journalists. You see, that's what they mean by a good parent. Big brother, somebody to watch over you all the time. You mean that good parent? Oh, hold on. You mean the one who lied and covered up the terrorist murder of 4 Americans, including our ambassador in Benghazi? What's Benghazi? Oh, you mean that good parent? Oh, hold on. Is it the one that doubled our national debt, racking up more debt in 8 years than from George Washington to George W. Bush combined? Saddling us with a $20 trillion national debt. You mean the kind of parent that mortgages the future of his children and grandchildren? You mean that good parent? Oh, hold on. No. Is it the one that lies to our face 25 times? You like your health care, you can keep your health care. You like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. And instead, you lose your doctor. You lose your health care plan. Your health care premiums literally double. So the guy that screwed us out of our health care. Oh, you mean that one? That's the good parent. I mean, this is unbelievable. The man who was arming Al-Qaeda in Syria through a secret CIA program that Donald Trump had to end, shut down, after he was shocked and horrified that it existed. So a man who was literally arming our mortal enemies, who called ISIS the JV team, as they were beheading Christians, massacring Yazidis. This is the so-called good parent who allowed ISIS to infiltrate our borders? And now we have ISIS cells in all 50 states? Are you kidding me? That's your idea of a good parent? No. He's the classic abusive parent you should have called child services a long time ago and sent his ass to jail. That's what this guy is. Now all of a sudden he's the good parent. This is and they're yucking it up here in Boston as if I don't know what. No, really, as if she's the Virgin Mary. They're like, everything that she says is sort of like, it's gospel. Enough is enough. And I have to say this, the media always goes on about President Trump, always breaking all the norms. He's shaking up the establishment. He's not behaving the way traditional presidents behave. How is Obama behaving as a post-president? Say what you want about George W. Bush, but they're not even offering Trump the courtesy that George W. Bush offered to them. If you remember, during Obama's 8 long years, when he trashed Bush relentlessly, trashed his policies relentlessly, did you hear George W. Bush say anything? Not a peep. Did you hear Laura Bush say anything? Not a peep. Same thing with the Clintons when they were in power. Did you notice Bush 41 or Barbara Bush? They never said a word. But these two, whether it's the dear leader or Marxist Muchel, or the worst of all of them is Hillary Rotten with that crying tour, constantly whining everywhere she goes. It's the Russians. I lost because of the Russians. No, actually, I lost because of Comey. No, actually, I lost because of sexism and misogyny and the FBI. And I lost because everybody just didn't want me to be president and not ready for a woman. And no. Pathetic. No, I'm saying, what a loser. What a loser. And so I look at these 3 losers, and I'm saying to myself, why don't you just shut up and do something productive with your life? Isn't your husband setting up another bogus foundation like the Clinton Foundation? Like, why don't you guys go line your pockets? Do something with yourselves. Really, for once, shut up. And the other thing about this Marxist Muchel, what is it with this woman in food? Have you noticed that? For 8 long years, this woman, I'm not kidding, I love French fries, I love Cherry Garcia ice cream, but I don't allow my kids to eat it because it's bad for them. And this woman has an obsession with food. Eat your carrots and go to bed on time. With Trump, you just eat candy all day. And I'm thinking, lady, really, go work out. I don't know go see a psychologist. I don't know what problem in this obsession you have with food. I really don't. Now, stop lecturing us on what we should be feeding our own children. And frankly, I'm not trying to be cruel, but you're always lecturing me about, how I should be eating, how my kids should be eating, how Americans should be eating. Look at your own kids. I'm just saying. They could be laying off the Cherry Garcia ice cream. I'm just saying. Tend to your own garden before. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, Brittany says, who's got the munchies from all the weed that she smokes?
The older daughter.
Oh, the older daughter. Well, yeah, I mean, she's smoking so much weed. That's why the poor woman's always hungry. She's got the munchies. She's ballooning in front of her eyes. So I'm just saying, tend to your own garden before you stick your nose in everybody else's business. Don't cast stones from glass houses. That's all I'm saying. So, my question now to you is this. Marxist Muchel, right here in Boston, takes a direct swipe at President Trump, saying he's a, quote, bad parent for America, while her husband, the dear leader, was a, quote, good parent for America. Number one, are presidents supposed to be our parents, and we're their children? That's number one. And number two, is it beyond disgusting and obscene that now the former First Lady continues to publicly attack the President of the United States? Have the Obamas no class whatsoever? 617-266-6868. Hey, Marxist Muchel, from me to you. blank off. 12:23 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Okay, Michelle Obama is in Boston at the Simmons Leadership Conference, and she's now made national news. She has now basically mocked the president, President Trump, saying he is a bad parent, and that her husband, by contrast, was a, quote, good parent for America. She also says that Hillary Clinton was the most qualified candidate to ever run for office, and she's asking women to look at themselves why they didn't come out in bigger numbers to vote for one of their own. 617-266-6868. You can also text us to WRKO, so we know it's for us, whatever your message is, 70470. This is from 617. Jeff, Muchel does not speak for all women or for everyone. This woman did not vote for the corrupt one with pantsuits. Amen, 617. Jeff, since when have former presidents and former first ladies opened their big mouths about a current president? Not until now. Not until the dear leader and Marxist Muchel, left the White House. This is from 978. Jeff, what happened to, quote, when they go low, we go high, quote, frauds? This stuff just helps Trump and the GOP win, win, win. Make America great again. Let me ask all of you this. I think 978 makes a very interesting point. When you have Marxist Muchel dumping and attacking Trump, does that help the Democrats? Does that hurt Trump? Or does it help Trump? Janet in Newton, you're up next. Go ahead, Janet.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks so much for taking my call.
My pleasure, Janet.
Okay. If you remember, Obama and his father was a member of a very radical mosque before he ran for presidency. And he was told that if he wants to be president, he better leave all of that membership to that. People aren't aware how brutal they are. And talk about his family, Trump's family. Look how lovely they grew up. I mean, that comes from the home, regardless of a divorce or anything. And now look at her. I've read about the young daughter. Drugs, hanging around with the wrong, people. What is that? Why would she say something like that? And everything else that she said, when people know everything she is saying is a lie. I just cannot believe that, but people are still in her favor, and Hillary's especially, after all the facts that have been coming out constantly, how she is a crook, and she is a gambler, and she is a lot more than the public really knows. That is
Janet,
bad.
look, Janet, brilliant call. Brilliant call. Honestly, Janet, brilliant call. Look, they live in a bubble. They live in a bubble. And they live in a political bubble. They live in a media bubble. Look at, I could play more clips from this. They're applauding every word that she says at this Simmons Leadership Conference. So in their warped mind, Hillary Clinton, look, you want to understand everything what's been going on for the last 18 months? The moonbats in this country refuse to accept Donald Trump's legitimacy and his victory on November 2016. In their mind, the only way Hillary could have lost is that the election was stolen. So who stole it? Vladimir Putin. They refuse to look at all of the overwhelming, irrefutable evidence. Uranium One, the Clinton Foundation, the email server, Benghazi. I could go on. Okay, you know the score. So they're trying to completely pretend like all of this corruption and gangsterism never happened. Never happened. When, of course, the country knows exactly what went on. And you even have literally half the country in rally after rally to this day saying, lock her up, lock her up. And the elites don't seem to realize, why are they saying that? This has never been done before. I mean, look, I opposed Kerry, I opposed Gore, I opposed Clinton, I opposed Dukakis, but nobody was running around saying, lock her up or lock him up. So the reaction from the country should be telling the elites, this woman's a crook. This woman she's a political gangster. Nope. They want to ram her right down our throats. And then I look at someone like Marxist Muchel. She is a classic liberal hypocrite. And I know these liberals. I worked with them. I lived with them. I was there with them in Washington. I have to meet them here even in Boston. Let me tell you what they are, okay? They are the biggest busybodies in the world. They are always sticking their nose in everybody else's business, but look at the mess in their own lives. That's a classic liberal for you. So her oldest daughter is apparently now, has been widely reported, into marijuana, getting stoned, running around with a bad crowd, frankly, putting on weight. She's eating like there's no tomorrow. She's got problems in school. She's got problems at home. But instead, she has to moralize and preach to us how to raise our kids, how to feed our kids, what's good for our kids. We're great parents. You guys aren't great parents. You don't know how to parent your kid, but we know how to parent. Really? Look at your own children. That's a classic liberal for you. Conservatives are literally the exact opposite. Take care of your own family, take care of yourself, and leave other people alone. Mind your own business. I would have loved to have been at that Simmons leadership conference, because I would have looked Marxist Muchel straight in the eyes, and I would have said, you know what, Marxist Muchel, has anybody ever told you, mind your own freaking business. Stop lecturing about my kids. Look at your own kids. 617-266-6868. But it's not just Marxist Muchel. Ho, ho. You have to see what Senator Kamala Harris said about President Trump. We'll have that next. But first, today's jobs report is showing an increase in employment last month. Evan Heidenrich is in the WRKO newsroom. He has all those details. Take it away, Evan.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
12:35 here on the great WRKO. Okay, coming up next hour, you do not want to miss it. The Mexican Senate now votes to end diplomatic relations with the United States, and Mexico now warns Trump, do not deploy U.S. border troops, U.S. National Guard troops on the southern border. Mexico will consider it an act of war. We're going to discuss that, so much more. 617-266-6868. But first, it's not just Michelle Obama, a.k.a. Muchel, who is now bashing President Trump, as she did today in Boston, saying that he is a bad parent for the country, while her husband was a quote-unquote good parent for the country. Listen now to uber liberal Democratic senator from California, Kamala Harris. She was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, considered by many to be a front runner for the 2020 Democratic presidential nominee. She's liberal. She's African American. She's from California. They say that she could reassemble the Obama coalition, and they're hoping she's the one that can defeat President Trump in the, if he should make it, they don't impeach him, in 2020. Listen to her now openly joke about wanting to kill the President of the United States. Roll it, Brittany.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Well,
617-266-6868.
617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. 617-266
Imagine if, I don't know, I would forget a prominent senator, and for many Democrats, a front runner for the presidential nomination in 2020. Imagine just Jeff Kuhner, little old Jeff Kuhner. And I'm on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Not that she would ever have me on, but for the sake of argument, I'm on. And she says, you know, if you bumped into President Obama, let's say this was during the Obama years, you bumped into President Obama or Joe Biden or Eric Holder in an elevator, what would you want to say to them? Well, Ellen, does one of us have to come out alive? My career is over. 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 Before the words even came out of my mouth, over. Fired. I'll have the Secret Service breathing down my neck. I'll probably be arrested for threatening to kill the President of the United States. And the entire liberal media would be going apoplectic, calling me a racist, a bigot, a hater, a secret member of the KKK. I mean, my career would be obliterated. Kamala Harris? In fact, Ellen was laughing so hard, apparently she had to drop her cards. You know, her cue cards. She had to drop her cards onto the table. She just was laughing. She was busting a gut. What is it with liberals now openly pondering and joking about murdering the President of the United States? Whether it's Madonna threatening to blow up the White House, whether it's Kathy Griffin with the fake severed head of Donald Trump covered in blood, whether it's, I mean, I could run down the whole list. Whether it's Democratic politicians constantly cracking jokes about wanting to kill Trump, whether it's Hollywood fantasizing and making movies now about assassinating Trump, or Sean Penn apparently is coming out with a novel. The whole premise of it is to kill Trump. Or now you have Kamala Harris. Wouldn't it be great if somebody would just bump him off in an elevator? Is there a double standard? If anybody made that kind of a joke about, say, Obama, Biden, and Holder, would somebody on a talk show be laughing, or would the Secret Service be paying that person a visit? And Kamala Harris, by cracking that joke, did she cross the line? Should this end her presidential aspirations? Is this an act of incredible recklessness and irresponsibility? 617-266-6868. Is it me, or are Democrats almost projecting their wishes, their fantasies? Almost trying to secretly wink, wink, encourage somebody to put a bullet in this president. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. John in Needham, you're up next. Go ahead, John.
How you doing, Jeff?
John, how are you, my friend?
Good. Two things. Yesterday you had a report on the wage rates in California. I think you should give that to Trump. That would resonate across the country like you wouldn't believe. He should be using that every day. Now, the second thing is this country is so divided in so many ways I can't even count them. I have a dream, a suggestion. Let's physically cut the country in half. We take the Constitution, which they don't like. We'll take the military they don't like. We'll take our religion they don't like. We'll take our family values they don't like. We'll take the gun manufacturers they don't like. You get my point. They can take all the illegals, okay, all the teachers and professors, the liberal media, their abortion clinic, and at the end of 5 years, I want to see how many school shootings we have and drug deaths we have versus them.
John, that is, I got to tell you, that is a mind bender. I never looked at it that way. And let me give you I'll tell you exactly what would happen. And everybody in this audience, you know it. Within, let's say 10 years. Let's not give it 5 years. Let's give it 10 years. Split America in half. Let's just split it in half. One side gets the Pacific Ocean. The other side gets the Atlantic Ocean. We'll just split it literally right down the middle. Constitutional America on one side. Liberal America on the other side. Give it 10 years. It would be the first world versus the third world. 10 years. 10 years. The one half, the liberal half, would be California, and the other half would be, take your pick, Texas, Utah, whatever, Iowa, Kansas. In other words, it would be first world, probably still, even cut in half. Cut in half. So let's say 330, divide that up, like let's say 165 million each. You have 165 million Americans on one side, another 165 million Americans on the other, two separate countries. Okay, we'll call it conservative America, liberal America. Even with 165 million, our population cut in half, we would still be the richest, wealthiest, freest country in the history of the world. The other side, liberal America, would be Brazil. Hell, it'd be Mexico. Within 10 years, it'd be Mexifornia. Drop the mic. And speaking of drop the mic, Mike and Saugus, you're up next. Go ahead, Mike. Hello, Mike? Mike?
Yes.
Okay, Mike, go ahead. The floor is yours, Mike.
Jeff, I have to agree with everything you're saying about lying Michelle and the Obamas and the Clintons. We have to thank God every day that we get up every morning and we don't have to see them on our TV anymore.
Mike, do you think when she badmouths Trump like this, does it hurt or help Trump?
It helps Trump, 100%, because people have woken up in the United States to see exactly the man we have in the White House is doing a great job, and he's putting America first.
I agree with you, Mike, and thank you for that call. I also, to be honest with you, I think it makes the Obamas look bitter. I have to tell you, I know to the hardcore Moonbat base, they eat it up like candy. They love it. But I think to most Americans, they look at this and they go, what a bunch of sore losers. Like, really, like, you're the former first lady. Where's your tact? Where's your class? Where's your grace? The Bushes didn't do that to you. Laura Bush didn't sabotage your husband. They left you alone. I mean, you reversed almost all of Bush's policies. All you guys did was trash Bush relentlessly. They left you alone. So I think they look at them and I think they say these people have no class. If anything, I think it makes people even more sympathetic to Trump. Jimmy in Dorchester, you're up next. Go ahead, Jimmy.
You, what I'm going to say.
Hello, Jimmy.
Yes, to me,
okay, Jimmy, we're having cell phone issues. Let's see if we can fix it. Linda in Medford, you're up next. Go ahead, Linda.
Well, I'm kind of interested in what people think about Elizabeth Warren going over to the Asia just prior to the meeting between Trump and North Korea. What was her point in going? And I think if people look at her personal history, they will find not only did she present herself as being part Indian descent, when she was studying down in Rhode Island for her law degree, she took a class in a very dry about bankruptcy. And in the end, she and another student in the class wrote a book. The professor accused them of academic misconduct, of taking the points that he taught in his class and attributing them to themselves in the book.
Linda, thank you very much for that call. Look, Elizabeth Warren, I don't want to get off topic. She's a plagiarist. I'm going to blow the whistle on her. Trust me, when this election starts to heat up for the Senate, I am going to expose her for the fraud and phony that she is. She is a plagiarist, number one. She's a liar. She has no Native American heritage whatsoever. She used her position claiming to her Native American status to get a lucrative position at Harvard. She's doubled down on that, which I think is her political death warrant. Now she is going around sabotaging the president on foreign soil. That's That's what the left is now becoming openly fifth columnist in this country. Elizabeth Warren sides with China against America. Elizabeth Warren sides with North Korea against America. Elizabeth Warren sides with radical Islam against America. That tells you everything you need to know. And it's not just Elizabeth Warren. To bring it back to our conversation, it's Obama, it's Marxist Muchel, and it's Hillary Clinton. Who let ISIS into America? Obama did. Who nuked up the Iranian mullahs? Obama did. Who deliberately turned a blind eye as radical Islam and ISIS spread across Syria, Iraq, Libya, North Africa? Obama did. Who allowed China to get record trade surpluses at our expense, hemorrhaging our manufacturing, our industry, and our jobs? Obama did. You want to talk Russia? Let's talk Russia. Who pushed a reset with Putin? Obama did. Who was caught on a hot mic telling Dmitry Medvedev, if you remember, this is my last election in 2012. Tell Vladimir, as he put it, Vladimir, not Vladimir, Vladimir, after the election, I'll have more flexibility. Who was colluding with Putin the whole time? Him. So what they do is they take their sins and they project it upon their enemies. That's how the left rolls. Patricia in Everett, you're up next. Go ahead, Patricia.
Hi.
Hi, Patricia.
Jeff. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Patricia?
I'm good. I love your show as usual.
Thank you, Patricia.
You are wonderful. What would we do without you?
Thank you, Patricia.
I think that America is having a great awakening, and I think what Kamala Harris did was, first of all, ruin her presidential. Any chance of that. Thank God. And I think what she did helps our wonderful president, and I think he's doing a fantastic job. And I say, Hillary, keep it up. Biden, keep it up. Democrats, keep it up. Keep going with trying to take our guns away from us, because the more you do that, the more we wake up, us conservatives and Republicans, and the more we're going to go to the polls, because there are more of us than there are them.
Patricia, very well said. Thank you for that call. 617-266-6868. Okay. It's all on the table. Marxist Muchel, Michelle Obama, says Trump is a bad parent for America, while her husband, the dear leader, Barack Obama, was a quote-unquote good parent. Is it wrong for a former first lady to be taking a direct swipe at a current president? And Kamala Harris, senator from California, big presidential nominee for the Democrats in 2020, openly jokes on the Ellen Show about potentially wanting to kill the president. Should she get a visit from the Secret Service? And did this just end her political career? 617-266-6868. More with your calls. Next.
WRKO.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Dorothy in Hingham, you're up next. Go ahead, Dorothy.
Hi, Jeff. I just want to say, have a little courtesy. Call Michelle by her real name, Mrs. Barry Sartiro. And I'm sick of seeing her, and whenever she goes somewhere, plopping those ridiculous Tina Turner wigs on her head. Enough. Please, no more. I'm sick of them. And by the way, talk about things coming around. Nobody mentions when the Reverend Wright jumped up and down and said America's chickens are coming home to roost.
Yes.
Well, his own children have had a few coming home to roost. I'd like to know about the daughter and her jail terms. But let's not mention that. That would be cruel, wouldn't it?
Dorothy, really, really good call. Really good call. Comrade, Jerry on the Cape. How are you, comrade? How are you, my friend?
Comrade.
Give me the
the phone. Hey, Kuhner, I got some anonymous source for you. You see who Hillary blames now for losing? Kermit the Frog. She blamed him, with the green finger and all. Jeff, I've listened to a lot of people talk about the awakening. Let me add to the awakening for a moment. Hillary, the other day, was with a group called The Wing. Did you see that?
Yes.
Do you know what they are?
I thought it was like some women's group or something.
Witches coven.
You're kidding.
Look it up. They're a witches coven. This is the woman who speaks to Eleanor Roosevelt on a regular basis, Jeff. That's the woman we should have had for president. What's wrong with this country?
Well, I mean, comrade, you got to be fair now. It takes one to know one, right?
Jeff, Obama called us bitter clingers who need to change. Hillary called us deplorable and irredeemable. Slick Willie called us rednecks. Black Lives Matters calls us racist. The Islamists call us infidels. The feminazis call us sexist. You know what President Trump calls us? Proud Americans.
Amen. Trevor in New Hampshire, you're up next. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, hi, Jeff.
Hi, Trevor.
I've listened to you for quite a long time and other talk radio hosts. And I'll just tell you, I've noticed over the past few years, unfortunately, I really do think this country is going to come to blows. And the reason I say this
what makes you say that?
Is that we used to agree on the ends in the 50s, even the 60s. Everybody was for America. We were for a common language, a common culture, for example. We now have one side that is still for that, you and I, but we have another that views America distastefully as something to be embarrassed about. Who are we to impose English on people? They're against our military. They really are for totally different ends. The two are philosophically incompatible. And if things keep going the way they are, I do not see how we're not going to come to physical blows.
Trevor, do you think, as you and I speak right now, that we're at war in everything but name, in the sense that politically, ideologically, culturally, there is a civil war taking place right now?
Yes, I think we are in what I've read a lot of history, and I'd say we're in the 1850s before the Civil War. You could see, slavery, it was either going to be or not. And the people were railing against one another then. There was a lot of vitriol. And I think we're in that stage right now. And the media, they're doing everything to help one side. That's why you can see the extremists get away with it in the left. You see their true nature. They're not called out like we are, or we're suppressed.
Trevor, I'm up against it, but I want to ask you one other quick question. Have you called this show before?
Yeah, I have.
You have? Trevor, can you do me a favor? Call more often. Could you call more often?
Yeah,
because honestly,
you liked my other call before.
But I mean, Trevor, honestly, you're very courageous, you're very insightful, and you got a lot of guts to say what you're saying, and I really admire that. Call more often, Trevor. Don't be a stranger, my friend.
Thank you.
God bless you, Trevor. Okay, coming up next, Syria. Trump wants to pull out. The Joint Chiefs say no. Mexico now warns us, don't deploy the troops. Those stories next.
The voice of Boston is you. On 680 WRKO Boston, an iHeart radio station. It's 1 o'clock.